Today's comics market is ripe with new titles by creators who are determined to get their books into your hands. My name is Onrie. For the last decade, I've been making and selling my own creator-owned comics and dealing as a collector in live sales. My signature series, Yisun-Shin, is the book that cannot be defeated in battle and has over 250,000 copies in print. Now I'm taking comics to the next level and laying the groundwork for my fellow creators to get their voices heard so they can connect directly with you. This is your chance to engage live with top comic book talent and get your comics signed without having to wait in long lines or pay any fees. But remember, we only have a limited amount of their books in stock, so always remember to call it as you see it. You're watching Virtual Signings with Onrie, the live event show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Virtual Signings with Onrie, the live event show. I am your host, Onrie. It is great to be here with you guys. I actually knew that I was going to do this signing all week long, and there was just so much other stuff going on that I forgot to properly promote it. This was actually supposed to air an hour ago, and it's 100% my fault that it did not. Fortunately, our guest, Mr. Russell Allen, was really, really cool about coming on a little bit later. And I'm going to have his books for sale no matter what. So even if you guys happen to miss this broadcast today, it's no big deal. The nice thing about Virtual Signings with Onrie is as long as I have it in stock, if you catch the episode later, you can still call it as you see it. And I still got it. I got a huge, huge creator-owned selection here. It's constantly growing. Next week, I'm going to be hitting the convention scene again. And so I'll be meeting a bunch of other creators out there, buying up a bunch of stuff. You guys know how it goes. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest. We got Mr. Russell Allen, dressed as Pool.
Yeah.
He's in the Steph Pool.
Yeah, that's right. It's Steph Pool. I beat up Russell and I threw him out of the truck. This is Steph Pool, everybody. Yeah, I like how Onrie's talking about huge things. I mean, we come in here and we're talking about huge things, and what better to talk about huge things than Steph Pool? You know, you got huge circle templates, the planetary sized, and he says I can't draw. I mean, man, that guy, I'm telling you, he has to use a stencil to draw, and everybody thinks he's a chick. So, you know, it's really funny. We gotta give him some trouble.
Well, here's the thing I'll say about Steph. He's an artist, so he's probably sleeping right now and not working. That's usually what happens with most artists. Like, they don't like to do anything other than just, you know, complain about how bad olives taste. But I personally like olives. You know,
I like olives too.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, at least two of us here has taste. But of course, Steph is he's in slumber land right now. What do you think he's dreaming about?
He's probably dreaming about circles and cats and crawlers. Those are his favorite. He loves crawlers. So, you know, they're round too. So, I mean, hell, we might as well say circles. I mean, you know, I'm telling you, though, him and Katrina Rotes, I mean, we're going to have to kick him to the curb. I mean, Steph doesn't like olives, and then I find out my editor doesn't like olives. I mean, that's like illegal somewhere. And so, yeah, I'm going to have to find me a new editor for book 2. Can't have people that don't like olives around me.
Yeah, see, even Trish says I love olives. And you know, Steph tried to call me out you know, at Baltimore Comic-Con because I didn't actually I'm just giving a little unfortunately I was unable to do Baltimore Comic-Con this year. And you know, of course, he had to put a little jab out there and be like, "Hey, where's Yisun-Shin at Baltimore Comic-Con?" You know, but I'm going back to the con scene next week, and I will make sure to let him know that you really nailed this Steph Pool impression fantastically. So, Russell, thank you. Not only is he a novelist, where are you right now? Can you tell us what you're doing and like what's going on?
Well, like right now, I'm in the truck. I hijacked his work truck, and so I'm Steph Pool, and right now I got a card game on Kickstarter called Steph Pool Circle of What?
Sorry. I thought you were gonna break character. I thought we were done making fun of Steph, but it's still going. I forgot. It's like it's a thing there.
Oh yeah, so we got Stepful Circle Destruction live on Kickstarter right now. We're making fun of the dude that says he has an art show, but he really just talks about food and crazy stuff, and he just goes on and on about being harbor master. But anyway, it's a super cool, fun game. You mass weapons to destroy your friends, and there's really fun power-ups, downgrades, upgrades, all kinds of cool stuff you can play. Over 130 cards. The base game's for ages 8 and up. It's for 2 to 6 players. And you got the not safe for work version. We won't even talk about that because it's really bad. But you're going to love it. If you like raunchy stuff, go check it out. It is available on Kickstarter now. You can find it on that link below. But hold on, I'll go here also because Onrie wants to get on with the show. But so thanks a lot for talking with Steph Pool. Hit up Steph. He's a pretty cool chick. And yeah, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'm going to bring him, okay?
Oh, look at this. He's making it work.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Oh, we got Russell now. Look at that handsome Bunham, everybody. Look at that handsome boy. He is
What's up?
a real genuine boy chick. All right, so dude, while you were changing out of your superhero costume, I just backed your campaign on Kickstarter, and I encourage everybody to do the same thing. This is what it's all about, guys. Supporting other creators out there who are doing the Lord's work, as one would say, and bringing more comics and entertainment out to you. The work we do is extremely tough, and Russell is he's out there hustling. Okay, so I asked you a question earlier. Where are you right now? What are you doing?
Right now, I am in Redbud, Illinois.
Oh, dude, you're like you're in the same state as me. Probably like a million
right.
years away, light years away, but not that far.
It's only 5 hours.
Yeah, it's 5 hours from Chicago.
Yeah.
But if you're walking, that would be like what, 15 years?
Yeah, probably. I would die before I get there, so it'd be indefinite.
Especially in this weather. This weather sucks, dude. Oh my god.
Especially with Illinois drivers. Like, there's no way I would make it to Chicago. Like, we went to Chicago in 2019, and we went to C2E2. And oh my gosh, like, people are making right turns out of the left turn lane and left turns out of the right turn lane, and here I am going, it's madness!
But here's what you're working right now. You're doing other stuff. Yet you still make the time to put together a Kickstarter. And this is something that's been kind of like that I've been thinking about a lot lately, is just how many creators are out there who are still finding the time to focus on their comic book projects while, doing whatever they need to do to support their family and working around the clock, not sleeping on a regular basis, pulling those extra nights in. Tell us a little bit about like what that's like, because I know when we usually see you on your shows, just you're always doing something awesome to like generate people's interest. But I want to give people a chance to really get to know you as the Russell Allen deep inside. But I want us to feel like we can reach out and touch you. Sorry.
No, you're good. So, a little bit about me. I'm Russell Allen. I am a father of two and a husband, and I I don't know. I just always had the drive to have fun and do stuff and be creative. And when I was a kid, we used to color pictures, and we had to write a story about it. And I would always write like a 10-page essay, when the other kids would write 1 page and turn it in. The teacher was always like, "Hey, these stories are awesome. You're really creative. You should, do something with this one day." And like always, everyone's like, "Oh, you need to get a real job so you can support a family and have a good vehicle and a nice home." And so, I kind of buried my creative part, and I still like to have fun, be creative with my friends, and joke around, and just, talk trash to them. And, we have fun doing it. We love each other. We talk trash because it's fun. We try to top each other. And, I've become the master of trash talk over the years. And so, last year, 2010, I wrote XENONANITE TITAN. Ended up being 900 pages. And 2015, I almost had it finished. My son was born. He had open heart surgery at a week old. And so I took it to the hospital with me with the intention of completing it. Because back in 2010, my wife was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And at that time, I was working over the road one night a week, and I was like, what would be perfect is if you get me a Chromebook because I really want to write. I feel my creative need, my need to create. I just got to get this out of my head. And so, I started writing it. He had open heart surgery, and I had every intention of finishing it. I just couldn't get in the right mindset. And so then we had him
Well,
home
hold on a
at
second.
a month.
You were. Let me just make sure I understand this. You were actually writing while your son was having open heart surgery.
No, I never got in the mindset to finish it.
Never
When
got.
he had open heart
Because
surgery.
yeah. Okay, I got it. All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was almost.
that's crazy. If we keep going, I mean, I'll tell you right now, the reason why I say that, there's no judgment. I just thought that's how I heard it. But sometimes you don't have that choice. Like when my grandfather was dying, I was writing his story as he was dying, which is really, really hard, to get into
Yeah.
that, to be able to pull yourself out of whatever it is that your trauma that you're going through. But okay, so I totally get it, and yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so what happened is I just couldn't get in the right mindset. We lost two kids before we had Roderick. We lost one at like 16 weeks and lost another one at like 20 weeks. So, when Roderick, we found out in December that he had to have open heart surgery at birth. We knew 3 months before he was born, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just take the computer with me. I'll work on the hospital. It'll take my mind off of things." And I just never got in the right mindset. So we got home. We were able to take him home after a month of being in the hospital. Then he went right back and had to have a pyelotomy on his stomach. He had stomach surgery, and it was one thing after another after that. My wife had surgery the following year. I had to take off for that, so I was taking care of the kids, and then I was working 60 plus hours a week. And so just over the years, I just gave up on my dream. Well, then 3 years ago, I started, indie promoting. I started getting into the community and trying to help other creatives out. And along the way, people are like, "What do you create?" And I'm like, "Well, I wrote this book." And they're like, "Well, why don't you finish it?" And it's like, I don't know. There's always so much going on, and I'm just so wore out. So, fast forward to last year, 2020, in January, I had a bad pain in my side. I went to the hospital, and I had this bad pain inside. Finally, my wife's like, "You're going to the ER." She takes me to the ER. They found a tumor on my liver. So they sent me in the following week for an MRI to figure out if it was benign or malignant. And so when I went to the hospital, they're like, "Oh, your tumor in your liver is benign. It's not a big deal, but we found a 3 to 5 centimeter mass on your spine." So the end of January, I got a PET scan, and it came back significant evidence of malignancy. So, I just lost it. And over the next week or two, I got to thinking, what do I regret the most? What do I regret not doing? And I'm like, I regret not writing and finishing this book. So I started Russ Explode Studios, Books with Heart. Went out there and started talking about the book. I started rewriting. I actually broke it up into a trilogy. I started rewriting the first part because back in 2010 I didn't have kids, and now I have kids. So there's more interaction between Raziel and his kids. It seems real because the way they talk in the book is the way my kids and I interact with each other. And so I put a lot of the hurt, the frustration, the inspiration into the book as I was writing it because, here I am, I have this possible, death sentence. I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know. They refused to do a biopsy because they wanted to wait and see if it got bigger because it was so close to my lungs and my stomach that they didn't want it to metastasize if they accidentally poked something else. And there was just so much involved. And so the end of February, I ran out of FMLA, ran out of vacation. I was still rewriting the book. I went back to work in March, and then I got hit head on. Somebody ran a light my third day back at work and hit me. So I have a blown disc in my neck and in my back. And I ended up, being a driving for a my instinct was hit them and get their attention. I swerved to avoid them, but they didn't move fast enough out of the way, and so when the airbag went off, it snapped his wrist, so it kind of halted my book, and I was really bummed. And then COVID happened, and they shut everything down. And like legitimately, they called me and they said, "You may or may not have cancer. We don't know. We'll get with you when you open back up." And so I was devastated. I'm like, what am I leaving behind for my wife? What am I leaving behind for my kids? My kids are, 4 and 5. Roger's birthday wasn't until later that month. I'm like, my kids are 4 and 5. What are they going to remember of me when they get older? And so I started including things in the book, like the Coke and Mentos challenge that we did because, during the COVID, the kids couldn't see the grandparents or anything like that. So we went live on Facebook so they could say hi to them and see the kids. And, we did the Coke and Mentos challenge, and my daughter looked straight to face. And so that's in the book, and so I started including all these little things from my life. The book really isn't about me, but I included stuff that, they could go back, they could read the book and be like, remember when we did that. And so all the hurt, frustrations, anger, being scared, I just poured that into the book. It just really fueled my writing. And I got to get this done. I want to finish this project. I want to make it happen. This is the one thing that I care about is leaving this behind, leaving behind, not letting my dreams die with me. And so I finished it, and I ended up collaborating with some of the indie comic book artists. Because it was like, hey, with COVID, uh, these artists don't have work. I'm like, hey, you want to do a commission for the book? I never intended for there to be pictures of it. And so that's how XENONANITE TITAN book 1, The Fall Before the Rise, was born. Now it's got 11 chapter illustrations. It's got some concept art at the end of the book, some of the stretchable art. That won't be in the second printing, so whatever's left of the first print, you'll be able to get that has that concept art in the back. After I do second printing, that's going to go away. Um, but I started in November. And something I've been really passionate about is comic books for kids. I want to talk about that for a second. So in 2018, when I got into the indie promotion, I started buying comic books and stuff again. I found out about Comic Books for Kids. It's a charity organization that sends comic books, pop figurines, Pez dispensers, coloring books, stuffed animals, you name it, to kids and hospitals nationwide. And having a kid that has a critical illness that's received benefits in the hospital of people donating toys and books, and seeing how that can take their pain away and takes their mind and they focus on that toy, and how detrimental that is to their healing because they're happy and they're motivated. And so I started donating in 18, and then I met Mark at C2E2 in 2019, which is the owner and founder of CB4K. It's totally nonprofit organization. And I told him, I said, thank you so much for what you do. You have no idea how much this helps the parents do. It gives us a chance to sit back and decompress over the things that have going on. When you sit in a room 12 hours waiting for a phone call in this room the size of a telephone booth, hey, your kid made it. You're just stressed to the max. You're like, I just want to go sit down. But then you go upstairs and, he wants mom and dad to take the pain away, and they just don't understand. He was 2.5 when he had a second one. And so fast forward, in November I ran XENONANITE TITAN, the first Kickstarter, and it failed. I got ambitious. I wanted to do a hardcover and a soft cover, and there was a base. I had to make so much to print this one, so much to print this one, and with this and so much work, I needed to fund it completely to get the print run done. And I had included a T-shirt that Steph Wilson did the art for. It said, "I'm a Titan" for CB4K, and it had me as XENONANITE TITAN, my son in a bed after open heart surgery, and then my daughter at the end of the bed with a get well balloon. And so I offered that as a add-on that unofficially, the proceeds went to CB4K, but Kickstarter didn't need to know that. And it failed. But another door opened. Mark had been reaching out to people to get T-shirts, and nobody would answer. Well, then he gets on Facebook. The first post he sees is my post with the XENONANITE TITAN T-shirt, and so I get a message from his daughter, and she's like, "Hey, Dad wants to talk to you." I'm like, "Uh-oh." So I'm like, hey, Mark, what's up? He's like, hey, Russ, I seen the T-shirt. I love it. How would you like to be the official T-shirt supplier of CB4K? If you can get more shirts made up like that and stuff, I would love it. So I was like, heck yeah. So over the next few months, I spent my time building the XENONANITE Titan Kickstarter and working on getting shirts done up for to launch on my website for CB4K. And in February, I launched XENONANITE Titan again, and we funded at 218%. So my dream came true. I printed the book. It's been fulfilled. It's available on my website. And so March was a great month. I funded, and I found out I was cancer free. Thank God. It was a big month for me. That really kicked me into gear. And I'm like, I'm really glad it happened, because had that happened, I may not be where I'm at right now. And, over the span of the year, I've also been doing indie podcasts. I've been bringing on creators, artists, musicians, life coaches, cooks, authors, you name it. Anybody that reaches out and says, hey, I want to talk to people, I bring them on. We talk about their inspirations and their projects. So uh, all this bad stuff that's happened has led to a bunch of good stuff happening. I'm an indie podcaster. I've grown a huge circle of people that I love, and I published first book, and now I've got a card game live on Kickstarter, and I'm an official member of Comic Books for Kids, which is huge for me because I'm a big believer in getting back to unfold. And this is my chance to give back for all the stuff, the care, the love, the stuff that my sons received in the hospital. I'm helping make that happen for more kids. So I launched that in May. I launched the official CB4K merchandise line. We've got a T-shirt with art from Wendy Steen Shaner. You've got a girl in a wheelchair. She can't walk. So she's reading this comic book, and you see in her imagination, she's running into a house and running out with this little boy's animal. So she's a superhero. She's able to walk, saving this little boy's cat and bringing it to him. And then you got April Grady Reynos, which is absolutely beautiful. You've got a girl that had cancer treatment, and she's sitting in the bed, and she's got books spread out in front of her, and she's reading this book. She's imagining in her mind that she's flying. It's taking her mind off of things, because 2020 and 2021 is really bad. I mean, cancer centers, you've got kids that are 6, 7, 8 years old that are undergoing chemo, and their parents can't be there with them. So they're alone. They're going through these treatments that even adults have a hard time going through. And so that's what CB4K does. They send this stuff to help take these kids' mind off of it. They get these stuffed animals, something to give them comfort in a great time of need. And I really felt the need to push that. So Mark and I got together, and not only do I have this T-shirts, Rodney Fike did another one with Pitter Patter. You got Buddy and Dude from Pitter Patter reading books with a little boy in bed. You've got my XENONANITE Titan shirts up there. It's officially a CB4K.org shirt. All the proceeds from these shirts, 100% of my profit goes to CB4K. I send it to Mark monthly. And then now I have Russ Explode Studios comic book or charity auctions for CB4K. It's a group page that I started. So it's Russ Explode Studios charity auctions for CB4K. I had to rename it to make sure I separated myself from Mark, because I didn't want them people thinking I was officially like a CB4K page. I mean, I am a member, but it's not an official CB4K page. It's me as Russ Explode Studio doing charity auctions for on behalf of CB4K. And we've got like 40 items up. I'll be reposting stuff for this month. I got some new items to put up. And all proceeds from these auctions goes to Mark. One month we raised over $2,000, and Mark almost passed out when I sent that over to him. He's like, dude, this is amazing. He's like, that's a lot of boxes, because it's $25 a box to ship to hospitals. And with COVID and the amount of kids that are in and out of hospital, they're asking for 3 and 4 boxes at a time. So I've really built just a lot of stuff up. That's just totally awesome. I'm excited. The book's great. I'm excited about the book. I'm excited about CB4K. I'm excited about all the stuff. We got this really cool card game that was born out of a joke. I've been drawing stuff for a year. People loved it, and it's crappy art with humor. And I started joking around about making a game, and people are like, oh, this game sounds like fun. You should really do it. And then more and more people kept telling me, and I'm like, all right, you know, whatever. Put your money where your mouth is. I'm gonna Kickstarter up. You guys really want it? You know, put your money where your mouth is. If it funds, it funds. If it doesn't, whatever. You know. And I launched it last Saturday, and we funded it in 1 second. So
That's
you know,
awesome.
the community's great. We've had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, and I'm really, Trish has been really pushing me to get involved with the game, and as soon as she kept nudging me to do it, and I kept forgetting because I just got sidetracked with so many other things going on. And I messaged you, and you were
I get
awesome.
it.
Yeah. So you just said a lot of stuff, and all of it, I was so like immersed in what you were saying because you know, these last 2 years have been very difficult, and this year in particular for me, uh, I've lost as much as I've gained. I'd like to say, um, as much as I kind of look back on 2021, and I don't realize how much I take for granted sometimes, because even though once we experience any kind of trauma, we become very sort of like self-involved, right? Because it's we have to pay attention to what we're feeling, like we're going through crises, and I think every one of us is going through this in some degree. But just seeing the optimism and sort of like the um, what's the word I'm looking for? Not humor in what's going on, but you know, seeing the light, the lighter side of things. And you know, it sounds to me like, based on everything you said just now, that your writing and your creativity and your ability to use those skills is really what's keeping you alive and what's allowing you to continue to keep going. And I take this for granted, Russell, because I get to do this full time, and I get stressed out because of all the kinds of challenges that come with, you know, having all this inventory. You know, it's wonderful to say, hey, I own this book, but when it's a matter of you know, putting a roof over your family's head, it becomes a different matter completely. I take my inventory very seriously, and I take my work as a publisher very seriously too. And it's been kind of eating away at me because my production process is very slow, and it's I don't know if it's is it my fault. I don't know if it's just how uh, you know, I want things done. But yeah, sometimes things take a long time, and just seeing how you keep pressing on is really wonderful. And I've been dealing with that same dilemma too of what happens if I die tomorrow? What happens if I walk outside and I get hit by a bus? What what will people remember me for? What will my children be left with? You know, aside from all this crap here, you know, well, not crap. Comics. Everybody loves comics. We got deals. And I love comics. You know, I love all this stuff, but you know, you have to separate yourself from it. Particularly when
Yep.
when you're being a creator. And speaking of which, that's the whole reason why we brought you here. This is a virtual signing. Russell's work is actually for sale right now, guys. And I purchased these books a while ago. Russell included a special personalized copy for me, which is hiding among here. I had my guy open these up, Russell, and he handed them to me just an hour ago. And this looks sensational. So you were talking a lot about XENONANITE TITAN, but I don't know. You were talking about so many different things that I was wondering if we can now kind of change course a little bit and try and move some of these. We only got 5 for sale. Each one's going for 25. Call it as you see it. Russell's going to tell us about this particular project, because my understanding was, seems like you're taking all of the experiences that you just felt and are putting them into a book. And I was just so gosh darn inspired by that, because you know, all throughout the course of my career in comics, I have a very small profile of books that I've created. All of them are more targeted towards an adult audience. You know, I have this particular focus, and the one thing I never really focused on was kids. And you know, because I don't like talking down to people. That to me was always really difficult. And I, even with my own children, I don't talk down to them. I talk to them as if, you know, they're people who can hear and understand everything I'm saying. But seeing how you've taken all these experiences, and these experiences are like everything you were talking about with your health. I don't think that's something that children can easily understand, and yet it's amazing how much they do understand. And it's cool that you've understand that that's a really like that's a good place to focus. I just want to let you know that I don't care if any of these books don't sell right now. What I gained from our conversation just now um, has encouraged me to try harder and to be better at what I'm doing. And I really appreciate that very much. You truly are an inspiration. I can see why your loyal friends are watching, even though I didn't plan this show out properly, and that's my fault entirely, you know. But just you spending the time with me right now and sharing your story, absolutely like inspirational to me. And you know, I hear everything you're saying, and it's just it's eye opening for me. But let's talk about your book. Tell us all about this. Give me the pitch, because honestly, I haven't had a chance to read this. I apologize, but I'm going to remedy that, especially since you gave me a signed copy.
I appreciate that, man. Well, I mean, that's kind of what the goal of the book was, to be an inspiration, you know, and the goal of forming, you know, Sequel Studios was to be an inspiration to others, to tell my story, to say, get off your ass and go out and create. Stop, you know, putting it off, because we all die, but do we all truly live? And what do we take with us, you know? And so XENONANITE TITAN is the story of Raziel. He's a family man. He's a father. He's at home on leave. He gets called back to work on his project to finish it in an emergency, and an accident happens, casts him into the far reaches of space. So he doesn't know where he's at, where he is, and how to get. Is his family okay? Does the Earth still exist? He doesn't know. So this is the fight of one man that is not a soldier. He's not a fighter, but does he have the drive to push through all of the um what's the word I'm looking for? It starts with an A. Sorry, I had a brain fart.
No, no, no,
It
no.
happens, man.
But you know, you know,
Adversity.
yeah, the adversity that he's feeling. But what you know, the reason why I wanted you to tell us about this is because I was reading the back of the book while you were talking, and I was like, oh my god, he's basically like telling us what he went through in life, but like he's made it into a science fiction, like you know, book, and it looks awesome. And by the way, Raziel was awesome in Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. That's so I like that name a lot. That's awesome.
Okay, I'm back. I lost video for a second. I was like, oh no, yeah, Soul Reaver. Yeah, I've always loved the name Raziel. That's what Roderick's name would have.
I
What?
see Kennerly. He was ahead of the game. He knew that the word was adversity. I was just I'm just taking in everything you're saying. I apologize.
No, you're good. That's what Roderick's name would have been. It would have been Raziel had my wife been like, I hate that name. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a book about character name Raziel. You can't tell me no, it's my book.
Well, that's the beauty of it, of what self-publishing entails. And like, again, Jesus, Russell, how do you find time to self-publish among all the other things that you're doing? It's really
Well, I work 60 hours a week, and then I go home and I try to spend time with the kids. It's something that's been really hard for them, is understanding that daddy can't play like he used to, because my back's pretty bad. I've gotten to the point where I have trouble walking and stuff. So I've had 16 spine injections over the last 6 weeks, and now I got to go for an MRI tomorrow. I might have to have back surgery to keep my leg going. But you know, I don't know. I do it because I love doing it, because I want to do it. This is what I've always wanted to do. So after the kids go to bed, we, you know, eat dinner, spend a little bit of time together. We put the kids to bed. I work on writing. I've wrote till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you know, on the weekends, trying to, you know, knock it out. And then you know, I do the shows Sundays and Tuesdays, where I bring on creators, and then I do Wednesdays off and on. Now I was doing Saturdays. I was doing Blue Balls Reviews, which is my review show. with the host Harry Sachs. There's a funny story behind it. And I moved that Wednesdays, and then Saturday Black. So I had like a crew of 10 people on, 7, 8, 9, 10, whoever wants to come on and talk. And last week we went for 5 hours. Sometimes we go for 4 hours. So I do these shows. I have fun with a lot of our peers and creators. I bring fans on too, let them come on and chat. And outside of that, I spend a lot of my time like on lunch. I'll do graphics and stuff, or I might uh, put notes in my phone and write a partial chapter because I have access on my phone to my book. So I continue, writing, and because I did a major rewrite in book one. Not only did I change the interaction between Raziel and his kids, I also rewrote a huge section. There was like a huge like loophole in the book that was like, this is really dumb. I don't know why I didn't think about this before. So book two is going to get rewrote because of all the changes in book one, and book three is going to get rewrote because of all the changes in book one and two. So, not only am I making the story better, the interactions between the characters is better. That's something I do a lot, because I'm always working around a bunch of people. I watch people, how they interact with each other. And anytime I write a character, I base it off of somebody that I have seen personally, the way they act, the way, and I always have that perfect person in my mind when I'm trying to think who would work for this character. I know somebody that would work perfectly for that. So then when I'm writing that character, I write it the way that person reacts, and that person talks, and that person acts around other people, and so it makes the characters a lot more believable. And I've always been like that. There's nothing like sitting outside, enjoying a nice summer day and watching people walk by and making up conversations that they're having with each other as they walk by. It's like your own personal comic relief. So book one is phenomenal. There's a lot of twists and turns, like a roller coaster ride. It has its ups, it has its downs. That was a lot of my problem trying to write a book is, when there were supposed to be happy parts and I would come home and I would be miserable because I was in a lot of pain. I was like, I just can't write this guy. I can't get in the right mindset because you can't write a happy piece if you're not happy. You can't write a sad piece if you're not sad. Make it believable. Just gonna be, whatever. He's happy, whatever. So I had to take pauses in the book last year writing it until I got in the right mindset when I got home. And because I'm not a person that can move on. Once I write something, uh, I'm done, and I just keep moving. I don't like to skip ahead. I just like to flow. And if I can't flow, I don't write. And so it's a definite roller coaster ride. It's one of those books where you get to the end of the chapter and you're just like, WTF. And so you go on to the next chapter and then you're even more mad because I changed gears and moved to a different part of the book to switch things up a little bit and tell you what's going on behind the scenes here. And then I'll come back to where we were at in the next chapter. So like a lot of people are like, for Christ's sake, next time don't do this to me, because I was like, I was gonna go bad ahead of what happened, but then I go to read the next chapter and move to somewhere else, so I end up having to read two chapters, and then you get to the end, and that was a lot of fun too. Katrina wrote my editor. She was always putting notes in the book, like, well, what does this have for? And then later on, I would explain it, and she would go back and erase it. Well, then after a while, she just got tired of doing that, so she would leave the notes in there, and then just add to them, like, yeah, you answered this, haha. How many times are we going to do this there in the book? And it was really cool to see, her reaction, because the second to last, it was the second or the third to last chapter, but this would have been a good place to stop. And I know. And so then I went through and continued making the edits in the book, and I get to the end, and she's like, now this was a really good place to stop. Maybe I was wrong. So, it's getting that reaction from the editor. She really liked it. She really enjoyed the flow of it. It was fast paced, and I don't like to dwell on things. And there's like little subtle hints of, Raziel's just not like, oh, I miss my family over and over again throughout the book. There's a scene where he pulls out a picture of his family and looks at it as you're reading the book, and that's me showing them as his family instead of keep continually whining about how much he misses his family. There's subtle hints of things. There's Easter eggs. There's a lot of Easter eggs in the book that you will be like, why is this in here? and then you'll get 5 chapters down, and then it'll explain this piece. So it's something you really got to keep in mind what's happened throughout the story. The stuff that doesn't make sense will make sense later on. I don't just put stuff in there and you're just like scratching your head going, what was this dude thinking? You know, why did he put this in there? So I had a lot of fun writing the book, and so far I've gotten really good, reviews on the book. People are loving it. Smithers is beating on my door for book 2. He got a pre-copy of it, and so he loved it so much. He bought 4 copies of it on a Kickstarter to give to his family to make them read it. He's like, here, you've got to read this book. It's really good. So it's really great to get feedback. That's what I care about the most. I could sell 1,000,000 copies and not be happy because I want to hear what people think. I want to talk to them about my universe. That's what the fun creation is. Somebody walks up to me at a con and talks to me for 2.5 hours about my book. That's going to make my day more than if I sell out a book, because somebody actually cares about the universe. They want to know about the characters. They want to know more. They want to know how I come up with this. And somebody being excited about something that I created in my mind and I put on paper means more to me than anything else, and constructive criticism, for stuff that people didn't like. I need to know that, so I can do more of what they like in book 2 and less of what they didn't like in book 2, and, so on and so forth. I want to build this, and I want issue or book 3 to be like the magnum opus of the novels. And then I want to move on and eventually do a short comic book run with this. So this is kind of like Raziel's origin story. How is the suit created? Why does he end up with the suit? What happens to him? You can't read The Punisher and it makes sense without knowing that, this mob killed him and his family, and they thought they killed him, but they didn't, and he came back. And if you didn't know that and you watched The Punisher, or you read The Punisher, like, why is this guy just randomly killing people? So that's kind of like what this is. This is Raziel's origin story. So later on, when I do a comic book run, everybody knows, hey, this is what happened. And it's a great story too. I just couldn't see doing the book as a comic book. I was like back and forth between what I was going to do with it. I'm like, it just really works really well as a novel, and I'm going to leave it that way because that's what I'm good at. And then we'll knock down the whole comic book thing.
That's incredible. There were so many thoughts that were going through my head as you were saying that. And one of the things I talked about in my class a while ago was not about the quantity of the transactions you have at a show. It's about the quality of the transactions. And you kind of nailed it on the head. Not every convention is designed for you as a creator to sell out at. Some of these conventions are designed for other purposes, whether it's to connect you with other fans or other creators who might get you further ahead in the grand scheme of things. Everybody's goals at conventions is different. Everybody's purpose at a convention is different. And yours is just so genuine and real because I'm in the thick of it. And I see what a lot of my contemporaries are doing when they're on a show floor, and they want to move as much inventory as possible. And I know this because I'm in the same boat. I want to move. I want to move at least 1,000 books a show if possible, not more, right? And sometimes it's not always possible. And the moment you realize that maybe it's not possible, it's not always a sign that like you failed or that the show is not good or that you're not going to get to where you're going. What that means is it's time to move your goals to a different place. So now adjust. And then that's when you find out what's the real reason why I'm here. And what am I really meant to do here? Am I meant to go around and shake some hands with people? Am I meant to go and, meet an actor? There was a really interesting situation. I was at a show, and I've talked about the show all the time, Big Easy Con in New Orleans. And I had the best position on that floor because I was right next to all the celebrities that were there. Sure enough, there's no foot traffic throughout the entire show, not even for the celebrities, just like no one came to the show. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen New Orleans Convention Center, but it literally stretches on forever. It just goes on for like, at least like 10 city, like more than, it's like 3 times the size of the Javits Center. It's like, you have to wonder why they created such a huge ass convention center. It's ginormous. It looks more like a shelter than it does a convention center, which would make sense too. But anyway, you know, I could have walked up to all those celebrities and just given them copies of my book and said, "Hey, you know, check this out and let me know what you think. You know, it sucks that you were here." And I could have shook hands. Instead, I didn't do that. And I constantly look, and I tried to sell as much as I could, right? And regardless, I didn't sell out anyway. I had to ship stuff back home. Might as well, you know, have handed out some books. And sometimes that's something I look back on in retrospect and think to myself, you know what, I made a mistake there. But you know, seeing the experiences that you have and the things that you're telling me reaffirm what the most consistent purpose of us for to be at a convention is. It's to engage with our audience and for them to actually read our stuff. Because when COVID hit and my sales plummeted on Nissan Shin because there were no conventions to support, you know, my distribution model, you know, I didn't hear back from anybody. And I started to wonder, are people actually reading my comics or not? You know, like sometimes we wonder that. But then you get those, you know, you get those Smithers out there who are gonna like buy your book, 4 copies of it, and hand it out because they love it so much, and that's what's really awesome. And I'm gonna give you guys a chance. We got 9 minutes to go before this show is over. 9 minutes left, and I'm gonna give you guys a chance to pick up this bad boy. We got XENONANITE Titan. This is Russell's book right here. It's going for $25. He has signed these books for me. There was actually a 6th copy included, but that one is for me. I am not selling it. The rest of these are good to go for you guys. $25 a pop. There's illustrations in here and a really wonderful story. These books are signed by the creator. You can't go wrong with this. Call it as you say.
Yeah, and the cool thing is I signed the cover and I signed it on the title page as well. So they're all double signed. And
Russell, hold that thought. So
I got
Kennerly, I'm here. You can call it right now. All I need you to do is send me your email address. You don't have to send it to me through here. The best thing to do is just okay, so you've shopped with me before at AwesomeCon. Awesome. All right. So do me a favor. Send me a Facebook friend request right now and message me your email address, and you can call this book. I will put it off to the side for you. And as soon as I invoice you and you pay your invoice, this goes out to you. So it's very simple. And I usually don't get YouTuber guys, but you guys, the best thing to do is to just email me here, which I'm going to put it in the comments right now. Just email me all of your information. And if you're watching the show later and you got Instagram, okay, you don't have Facebook. I have Instagram too, and you can message me on there. That's totally fine too. Hang on. Russell, the only reason why I'm doing this, I'm talking so much about me, is so that we can get some of these books out there to folks, because more people should be knowing what you're doing. So that's my Instagram, and just go ahead and follow me on there and message me your email address, and I got you. So thank you so much. Mr. Ship, how you doing, man? Yes, we got a surprise signing with Russell Allen here, who wrote this book here. It's a sci-fi book, and I'll read the back of it for you real quick. Raziel gets called back from leave and rushed to finish his project. An accident casts him off into the unknown, far away from home. Can he pull himself together and make it back to his home, or does home even still exist? Will he conquer adversity or lay victim to it? Find out in the first book in this thrilling new adventure. So we got tentatively four copies left of Russell's book. Each one is going for $25 right now. Call it as you see it. We got you covered. I will put these aside for you. We got 6 minutes left. And Russell, you were in the middle of saying something and I interrupted you, and I feel horrible about it. I apologize.
It's all good. What I was going to say is, it's more than just a story. It's a human story. That's, how Philip described it. I sent him an advanced copy of it, and he read it, and he absolutely loved it. He's like, dude, this is phenomenal. He's like, it's very human. It's like you really connect with the characters, and it's like that's what my goal was. I want people to connect with it. I want this to teach this younger generation that doesn't deal with adversity very well that, no matter how bad you have it, there's always somebody out there who has it worse than you. And you need to keep pushing no matter what, because if you give up and something happens, well, then your dreams die with you. Do you push forward and get that dream out there and leave something behind, or do you let it die with you? And the answer is no, you don't let it die with you, you push. And a lot of my projects, like with this project, it's a novel, but it has comic book artists in it. And a lot of what I was trying to do with that is, for one, like I said, they made the artists have hard times. We're trying to keep food on the plate, so I wanted to help them out. Also, I wanted to put them in a new medium that other authors could see this and go, wow, I really like what this person did for Russell's book. I want to hire them. So I want them to be seen in a new medium that people otherwise might not see them, or even the reader might go follow the artist and want to get art commissioned from them of the favorite character. So this was a new way to get them out there because, they don't normally do stuff for books. And it's the same thing with Steph Pool's Circle Destruction. What was a joke turned into a project, and then I got to think, how can I make this project better? And I'm like, well, I'm doing 130 cards. I'll reach out and ask, what creators want to draw their character in here and put links at the bottom of the cards? Because I'm all about the community. I could care less about making money. I wanna provide good quality stories that people are gonna come home from a bad day and they want to get their stuff out of their head and then go read about how bad Raziel has it and sit there and think, well, maybe my life's not so bad because this guy's life really sucks. And they can read that and, be immersed in a whole new world. And so, it's all about the community. And so I was like, so now we're at over 30 creators. Now you're on board, and I'm not charging anybody anything. I've had people like, what do you need for me to be on there? And it's like, it's not like that. I'm all for our community and for the people that, support me and that are a part of my creative family. People outside of that, it doesn't matter who you are, unless you're a dishonest person, obviously. But, I really thought, hey, this would be a good idea because it's a card game.
Unless you're Richard Nixon. Sorry.
It's a card game and you play with friends. So when you have groups of friends over, they play this game, they're going to see all these different creators. They might see a joke like Belial, and Belial 2, somebody gets trapped in an outhouse. So I made an outhouse card with link. And so it's a joke out of the book. If people think it's funny, the link to Belial Insta Ink is at the bottom. You can go find their book. You can purchase their book. And so I was like, this is a cool idea. I made them even greater because not only can you play this card game with your friends and your family, you're also advertising all these creators that may not get seen by these people any other way. And it could bring people on the live streams to watch the live art shows. Then they may get commissions. They may buy their books. They may not. I don't know. It was just an idea. And I'm like, hey, if it works, works. If it doesn't, I tried, You just got to throw stuff at the wall and see if it sticks. And it's not costing me anything because I'm already drawing 130 cards. Does it matter if I draw Steph Pool or I draw a character from YouTube? Or does it matter if I draw Steph Pool or I draw Lyle or, Tragedy and Phil Russell? I'm including all these in there. Your guys' links are going to be at the bottom. People are going to be able to go buy your book. So this is kind of my call out to you guys to say, if you want to be included, message me. I've had people talking to other creatives and like, hey, you think you would include my character? Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm not the guy. I'm an easygoing guy. I love to have fun. If you guys never seen my shows, please check out Russ Explode Studios, Books with Heart. My podcasts are fun. Blastcast is literally a blast. That's why it's called Blastcast. Plus, it's Russ Explode, so we might blow stuff up. You never know. And please reach out and say, hey, I've got this book. I'm having. As Onrie said it the best earlier. As creators, it's really hard to get your stuff out there. And so this is a way to say, hey, I want to be in this card game, and you might get 20 new people, you might not. I mean, what's the hurt in trying? So, please reach out to me. This is just a way to get you guys seen more, try to help the community out, try to help people's, IPs get out there and be like, oh, what's, Into the Suck about? And then they go and buy the whole series because they're like, oh, wow, this, buy the first book, and they're just blown away. So, if you guys are struggling to get your work out there, you're looking for a creative way to do it, message me, say, hey, here's my character, here's something from the book, can you find something to put it on a card with? And I'm down to do that.
Excellent. Russell, it looks like we've reached the end of our show here, man. I just want to thank you so much for coming on. And folks, once again, XENONANITE Titan, I have tentatively 4 copies available. Each one is going for $25. You are supporting an independent publisher, novelist, creator, and soon-to-be comic book creator as well. And he's doing all kinds of stuff, supporting all kinds of people. He's a real big part of our community, and we love him very, very much. Our entire industry is richer because of his involvement in our beloved hobby. So, Russell, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely,
you guys need to pick up the book, and they're high quality.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that. We'll be cycling these on the live shopping show, and I'll actually be on the EXP tonight, and I'll be sure to show them off again. But I just want to say, as a creator, having this conversation has enriched me tremendously. I really appreciate it. You were very good company today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, man. Stay in the back real quick. Let me just close out the show, and I'll be right with you. All right.
Okay. Sounds good, buddy.
Awesome. All right, folks. So there you have it. Virtual Signings is back-ish, kind of. I'm still kind of trying to figure things out. Next week's going to be crazy, so I can guarantee you there will not be a show because I have Grand Rapids Comic-Con next weekend, and then the following weekend I'm going to Bayou City Comic-Con in Houston, Texas, and I'll be I'll be working Eastern Shin over there, but I'm also going to be watching and studying what Jen King is doing over at her shop and learning as much as I possibly can in the time that I'll be there. So really excited about that. I'll be back on the EXP later this evening at 7 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Central, and 10 p.m. Eastern for 2 full hours of awesome comic slinging action. And I got a great lot sorted out, priced out, ready to move. And it's going to be a great show tonight. So be sure to come check it out. I got a lot of cool, fun keys. I'll be posting a FOMO pic very shortly for you guys so you can see what we'll have for sale. And I will see you guys later tonight. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon and rest of your day. Take care.